Namyo Renge Kyo, Namyo Renge Kyo, Namyo Renge Kyo, Namyo Renge Kyo, Namyo.
Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to this week's Zoom session. Good to see you. Yes, good to see so many of you on the call. I'm just going to go across the screens. I'm recording this. Wonderful to see so many faces, smiling faces. I did get a bit of an attack a couple of weeks ago from including Om Namah Shivaya from a commentator on YouTube saying that I had lost my way trying to convert everyone into Hinduism. So just to say, the reason why I played that chant, Namo Renge Kyo, is just to clear the energy. I've experienced those chants in medicine and I just know the power of them. And usually when that chant is played, everyone starts purging. It has a way of drawing the hucha energy out of the darkness into the light so it can be transmuted. So it's incredibly healing mantra. And as I said earlier, before I started recording, I have felt under psychic attack for the last week or so, really having to do a lot to hold my center. So I'm going to just do a short invocation and then I'm going to start coming round the call to you, check in with you, see what's going on for you. So I'm going to read the great invocation again because it is such a powerful opening prayer. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door to where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. If you've been following me, you'll know that my feeling that the solution to the shit show which is unfolding across the planet, I am absolutely convinced that the solution is a metaphysical one. It's an awakening of consciousness, and it is a real sealing the door to where evil dwells, which is what that invocation speaks to. I've mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again. There's an amazing book called Dispelling Wetiko by Paul Levy, Breaking the Curse of Evil. And in this book, he talks about Wetiko, evil energy, being a non-local, lower vibrational entity, which is looking for cracks and trauma through which to work and people through which to work. So people who are unconscious, people who are highly traumatized. Wetiko energy, this dark evil force, finds it easy to work through those people. And also we all have those cracks within us. So being constantly aware, consciously aware of where Wetiko is playing out within ourselves and within others in the field, and bringing the light of conscious awareness to it, because Wetiko likes to hide in the darkness, but when it's brought into the light of conscious awareness, that is when it loses its power and it can be transmuted and alchemized and healed. So bringing things from the subconscious into the conscious awareness is part of healing. It's part of medicine, ayahuasca medicine journeys. It's all about finding those rifts and cracks and healing them, sealing the door to where evil dwells. So I just wanted to start with that because it feels important. And I also just know from being in medicine journeys that the point at which it gets most intense is often the point just before the massive breakthrough and the bursting through of the veils. So actually, it could well be that we are very close to that breakthrough point. Okay, let's come around the call, and good to see so many of you on. We've got 86 people on so far, which is beautiful. I'm going to choose people who I haven't come to before. Tim in the blue shirt. Hi, Tim. Hello.
Hello, nice to meet you, Rachel. And thank you very much for all you're doing for us. You've kept me going for a few weeks now, so that's very good. I think I saw through all this back in June or July. I'm a shielder, and myself and my wife have been locked down up to now. But now I don't feel that. I know there's a lot of restrictions, but I feel quite free now that I'm not being pursued by this demonic thing that you see on the BBC, all the cases going up and all the rest of it. Done quite a bit of research on it, following on from your material, and I'm absolutely convinced it's just not. It's not true in the way they want it to be. Some of it is. It was a virus, but it's fairly obvious that it's not that now, and it's all about maybe the vaccines and making money and keeping us in prison until they get some new system working. That's what I feel. I went out to Ilkley yesterday, Ilkley Moor Bartat. It was lovely and sunny, and there were so many people out there. I felt part of the world again. We went to the outdoor cafe thinking, maybe it's open. But no, all the tables were taped off outside, and I just thought, this is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, that's all I've got to share, really. But I do wish everybody well, and I've been very grateful for some of the comments. I'm glad I'm here.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I've been out and about, and it just seems like everyone's just continuing as normal, apart from businesses not being open, but people are out and about. And I think lockdown fatigue has well and truly set in. Let's come to Nancy.
Hello. Hi, Rachel. So, I've been listening to, I'm thinking about what you said in particular terms of spiritual attack. Because I do think that there is a context, there's the things that are unfolding in the real world, but also feel like there's spiritual warfare going on. I heard it described today, something I was listening to, and it said it's that there's the children of light who are aware, have some connection with God, with spirit, to see, their eyes have been opened to see that what's going on, is against God, it's against our bodies, it's against nature. And then there's children of darkness, and that's not to say they're bad people, but there's like the lights are out, they can't see it, and they just see this as another change in the world. And I've experienced this this morning on the mums group for my daughter's school. They're talking about getting all the children tested, wearing masks in school, and I've spoke up against that, and I literally just got annihilated by everyone on the call. And it's sort of really shocking how it just feels like even when you try to talk sense or wake people up, it's like there is a veil over their minds. And I do think when I see this happening now, I do think of it in terms of, that this is spiritual warfare. And I was actually going to share a link with you, Rachel, and maybe if you see to it, or if I could share it with the rest of the group, but it really helped me put into context, I think, what's going on today in those terms. So, yeah, there was just one other thing to share. I just wanted to share like a property I became aware of that, is something I can maybe share to you, but it's already got like several dwellings on it and a campsite, and it's on the south coast. But again, I feel like we are going to become marginalized in society, anybody who's awake, and it is important to maybe prepare for what's coming in times ahead.
Thank you, Nancy. I actually posted on my Telegram channel, Rachel Speaks Out, this morning, an outrageous piece of cartoon. It was a cartoon from Los Angeles, an outrageous piece of propaganda sponsored by Microsoft. And it was absolute mind control aimed at little children. It was absolutely shocking.
There's never been anything like this virus in our lifetime. Often, it's hard to see the effects it's having on our children. Has this conversation taken place in your home?
Mom, I'm scared about going back to school. I don't want to get sick, and I don't want to get you and Dad sick.
Our scientists tell us there are 3 things we must do to stay safe. Wear masks, make sure we social distance, and wash our hands. And now, your school, with the help of Microsoft Corporation, has created another. Introducing Daily Pass, your exclusive ticket for safely going back to school. Each week, you can schedule your free on-campus COVID test. The results are displayed in your Daily Pass. And if you choose to take your test off campus, you can post the results in your Daily Pass. And the moment vaccinations are available, you'll simply be able to schedule yours through your Daily Pass. But the real magic is your daily health check. Just answer a few simple health questions every day, and like magic, your entrance ticket appears.
Welcome back. Welcome to school. So, how did it go?
Dad, I have to admit, I was scared at first, but then I felt so safe. It was so good to be back. Thanks for keeping me safe. I love you so much.
This assault on our children's minds is, as a mother, quite horrific. They're not bothering to even be subtle anymore. It's like a full-on assault. I totally agree. It's so important for us to find ways to hold center in the face of this onslaught that is just like a bulldozer just coming through relentlessly. Who should we come to next? Christine Chalklin. Hello, hi.
Christine.
Welcome.
It's the first time we've been on. I'm Christine, this is my partner Alan. We're very happy to be on the call. It's the first time we've joined you, but we're very much in alignment with all the things that you and probably most people on this group say. And we just feel collectively we need to do something. And listening to what Nancy said before, it's just heartbreaking that as soon as you come up with a different view, you're immediately pounced on by everybody or ignored, or you're actually not allowed to have a different point of view anymore. Since I stopped listening to mainstream media, BBC and so on, I'm feeling so much better and don't have weird dreams and wake up in the night. I'm just feeling at a much better level and much smoother. But, I can manage it a lot better, I feel. And it's good that we both, my partner and I, feel the same, but we can discuss it, talk about it, and a lot of our friendship groups. And I run a lot of networking groups for holistic and alternative points of view. And so we have a lot of support, really, and a lot of things we can share. Yeah.
Yeah, I would add that we're astrologers, and so we felt marginalised anyway, I suppose. But we do astrology. I do numerology as well, and the point behind it really is for people to become self-aware and realise that they've got a destiny to fulfil. And at the moment, that opportunity is being taken away. Critical thinking, being aware of what's happening in the wider world, what's happening subconsciously. People are thinking thoughts that are not their own, and this is quite concerning. And personally, I had a sort of a wake-up call in 2017, which this sounds a little bit weird to most people, even to Christine, where I was visited by an ET who was very concerned. He was speaking on behalf of the Galactic Federation, that human consciousness was kind of hitting a fork in the road. And they were very concerned that people should become self-realized, if at all possible. And so when we saw what you were doing, we thought, well, that's fantastic. More power to you and all those who are joining in.
Yeah.
Because it starts with individuals, really, to understand that they've got different aspects to themselves. They've got a stellar aspect and a personality. And the two need to be aligned. And so there we go.
Okay. Thanks, Alan. Thanks, Christine. Thanks for coming on. One thing that I would really recommend you watch, if you haven't seen it already, on BBC iPlayer is the series called I Can't Get You Out of My Head. It's an interesting one because it is by the BBC, but it's all about mind control, the extent at which mind control has been used to control people over the centuries. But the interesting thing is, in itself, it seems to be a piece of mind control. And what it's planting the seed of is that people who speak out, the revolutionaries, are the dangerous ones. And revolution always leads to chaos, violence, and bloodshed, basically. Davina in Peru really said, you must watch it, Rachel. Let's see who to come to next. Mel Eves.
Yeah, hello, Rachel.
Hello, hi.
I absolutely love your stuff. The energy of the people on the call is absolutely wonderful. And we are going through a wonderful time. I'm so blessed, which I feel everybody should be, to be here at this time, because going through this transformation, yes, we have to be mindful of where everybody else is, because everybody else can only come from a place where of their perception of the world, and we're all a product of our environment. And you're going through the as you say, the mind control, and we're just all a product, and we're coming through such a wonderful time if we all have total belief of what's going on, that this is really a spiritual battle and a spiritual war of good versus evil, and good has won. This is all really optics, in my opinion, from all the information that I get, that the more people have to wake up and really see what's happening. Once you get information that this doesn't work, that doesn't work, once you actually study the information that's there in plain sight, because they always hide things in plain sight. Everything is in plain sight. It's all one. It's all one, but we have to be very mindful and stay out of judgment, which I know is a big thing that we're learning from you, Rachel, is we have to stay out of judgment, and people can only make decisions from where they are. So we just have to appreciate that and not push things onto people, and just to be really strong in our own identity and strong in our own self-sovereignty. And that will then transmit to everybody else. That's the way to give our contribution, I believe, is feel really blessed that we're here at this wonderful time and that we've all been chosen to be, and we can play our part. And thank you for everything that you're doing in your leadership, Rachel. Thank you.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks for that. And I have to say, it's a mutual flow, because having you and the support group and all of your feedback and all the emails you send me, even though I can't often reply to them all, they help give me strength and help me to keep going. And, so yes, I'm going to come next to Sandy Nielsen. Hi, Sandy. Hello.
Hi, how are you? Firstly, just like everyone else, I want to say thank you so much, because you've given me such hope and inspiration. And apart from anything else, I find it quite almost meditative to watch you on your walks in your area, because I love seeing, like, when you make references to, I don't know, the mist coming over the hills, and love it. And I, you know, when you think you're going slightly mad almost sometimes, when you feel like almost you're the only one, not quite. And if you don't conform these days, I forget who it was. I think it was the People's Lawyer who said, since when did non-conformity become almost a criminal act? And that's when you can start feeling quite attacked almost. And I had a really close friend who's just gone and had the vaccine, despite having such a severe reaction to the flu shot that she almost died. And I simply asked the question, well, you know, do you think that's wise? To which she completely attacked me. And I realized, you know, it's not personal, it's her stuff. And I had the virus back in, or a virus, or whether it's the actual virus, I had back in January. I was really quite sick for 2 weeks. I mean, I didn't go out for an actual test, and I went to get the antibody test last week. Partly because I thought, if we're going this way of the travel passport thing, you know, there's something I read somewhere that said, actually, if you have antibody test, you know, if you have this, you show that you've got the antibodies, that could be helpful. Anyway, I went, and I almost got attacked by some of my friends when I mentioned that I'd had that, and they were referring me to the government website, which has been edited last Wednesday on the 24th, to say that antibodies, you know, it's all part of the same thing. Antibodies don't do anything, they don't guarantee anything, they don't help anyone, and therefore, you know, take the vaccine. And I just thought this was just astonishing. It was, and it shows it's been edited on what date. Whereas the actual GP who conducted my test, she said, that's brilliant, and it sounds like you really have the virus and all the symptoms. And I came back, and it actually says on my certificate, on my certification, that this rubber stamp thingy that they give you, it says I am immune to it actually says immunity, virus immunity. So, wow. You know, I thought that was great. I felt like it was such a sort of almost victory, but I am getting to the point. Sorry, I feel like I'm rambling because I'm so excited to be on here. But I feel just some small victories. And even though I got attacked by some of my friends who told me I'm a muppet, basically, why would I do that? Why don't I go and get the vaccine? What I've done in many cases is I referred them to all your videos are great, but one of them I thought was really excellent, explaining how you got to where you are today, is the one called, sorry, I've forgotten if I got it right, the naysayers. For the naysayers. Yes, where you explained where your friend had showed you the SAGE document, and then you started questioning, and then that's how you came on your journey. And that has been so powerful to refer, or because, you know, I feel like I'm sometimes inept and I can't articulate things anymore when you start getting attacked. So I've just literally pinged your video over to people, and it's been eye-opening to some people, and then they've started asking, it started opening up a whole other world for them. So thank you for that, and well, thank you for everything. It's been amazing. Oh, thanks, Sandy. Yeah, that's good to know that my videos are helping people. I mean, sometimes with those videos, I just think, oh God, no one's going to watch, no one's interested, you know, it's only a handful of people. But then I just think, no, it's really important to keep going and keep speaking out. Country, you know, it's amazing. Thank you. I'll mute again now. Yes, thanks, Sandy. And this thing, it is an interesting thing in trauma terms, because when we are under attack, and so our nervous system is activated. And when our nervous system is activated, you know, we're pulled off center, we're easily triggered into fight, flight. And so it's so important to keep coming back to nature and to keep centering and to keep calming the nervous system, because it's all designed to keep us on predator alert. And that adrenaline response is very bad for our health. You know, I just know this from doing 3 years of trauma healing training. Okay, Helen, I'm going to come to you.
Hi, Rachel. I don't know if you recognise me. We first met at MJ's first ceremony at Rita's. Yes,
you're an actress, aren't you?
That's it, exactly.
Yes. Yes. Hi, Helen. And you gave
Hi.
me the most wonderful water blessing. Do you remember?
Yeah. Okay, great. Lovely to connect. Thank you for all your work. And lovely to meet everybody on this call. And this is the first time I've joined live, but I'm a Nichiren Buddhist. I chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo twice a day.
Nice.
With my shamanic path and teachings on top of that, and it all just so grateful for the things in my life that happened to lead me to start doing this work, so I can hold space right now, because it feels like ceremony every day. I was also very grateful that I was told a couple of years ago about what we were living through now, and I didn't believe it and broke down and thought the world can't be that bad. And then when it started happening, realized it was true, and so set up a group. And I really want to instill hope that there are far more people awake than we think there are, but they think they're on their own. And the level of compliance with people who don't believe what it is they're complying with, but don't know what else to do, is really, I think, the vast majority now. I really feel the tide has shifted from that huge fear that was so palpable. And I was living in Zone 1 in London at the beginning, and my God, the compression of that fear was really toxic. But I think it is so much has changed. And what Laurie Ladd, who I think is a wonderful channeler, and things that I've been channeling about this, not allowing, like, our work, people who know the truth, is to not allow our minds to dabble in the outcomes we don't want, because there's so many things working towards this shift, and the unseen and the seen. And the more that we allow ourselves to get into the crisis, and that we're all going to be stuck in some camp somewhere and, given food parcels if we don't, like, all of that stuff is just, it's still playing with the same fear, whether we're scared of the vaccine or we're scared of what might happen. And I really don't think that's the possibility for the world. And the group I set up at the beginning of March to support people, and they've now all set up groups, and I think there are groups like this and networks all over the world. My question, I really think, is similar to Sandy. People I love who think I'm mad, who are now having the vaccine and won't watch what I send them and won't listen to me. I can't believe what trauma it would be to have had the vaccine and then wake up, or then have the realization. And so where my focus is at the moment is really about how to have dialogue, because this happened to me last week, with somebody who says, oh yeah, I know there's literally said, I know there's a lot of corruption going on, I know the government are lying, but I've had my vaccine because I'm vulnerable. And I was sort of speechless, and tried to have a conversation and really use all of my practices. But it's at the moment, people I love who've ignored me, I know I've had the vaccine and I don't want the relationship to end, but I need to find a way of talking and being with them, knowing that they've had the vaccine. And if anyone has any suggestions, because I don't want to further traumatize somebody by saying what's happened to their body and what it's irreversible. So that's where I'm focusing my prayers at the moment. But I do really believe that we have, the solstice, the tipping point, we've passed it. We are headed in the highest timeline. We are not headed into the New World Order agenda. But it's about, I really feel now, it's about how many people that we can help hold and navigate and have the courage to say no and understand their rights.
Thanks, Helen. Your aura is so clear. It's like sparkling clear water, energetically. Yeah, thanks for coming on, Helen. Yes, I have to agree. My heart does sink as well whenever someone says, oh, I've had my first jab, and my heart just really sinks. Let me just see who's on the screens. We've got 97 people on, so nearly a full house. And I'm going to come to Gina Lazenby. I know Gina. Gina's an amazing woman, a female leadership, also has done a lot of work around feng shui, although she's much more around feminine power these days, I know.
Morning, Rachel. Well, I just want to reiterate and say, I'm just so impressed with your work. Thank you so much for being, providing the leadership you have, because it does take a massive amount of courage. So, you've done a great job. And it's my first time here today. Surya encouraged me to come. I've been busy. I know it's all going on, but I haven't made the time to follow everything. So, but I know that my trust in organisations or governments was eroded severely in the 90s when I was researching electromagnetic fields, writing the Healthy Home book, because the scientists were explaining to me how they got funding. You got funding because you delivered results that the establishment wanted. If you were a science lab and you found out something was harmful, your funding was removed. So I got a lot of information from an independent lab. That's when I found out that to be an independent science lab was extremely rare, and you had to have some money from somewhere. So then when we come along with this situation, I mean, years of my trust being eroded, why is this any different? Although necessarily from the word go, I didn't really know what was going on. But I run the Healthy Home Retreat, and we've been empty for 80% of the last year. And I talk to people all the time who, my Easter booking, family of 14, and they're 3 household, and they're too fearful to come and stay in this huge house, which is so annoying. And I can't say anything but okay and refund money. It's really annoying because that's where their fear is. So that I can't say anything. But obviously things are changing month by month. I did have an interesting experience on Saturday. I'm actually doing Lynn McTaggart's Year of Intention Masterclass course. I know about intention, but I'm doing her scientific study program because I'm running a Power of 8 group. So I'm following Lynn's teachings and research. And she wanted, as an exercise on Saturday night, how to connect and bond with someone you don't agree with. So this was the exercise. So she said, would 2 people volunteer, one to speak out for the vaccine, because she'd done a poll about who believed in the vaccine or not. And more people were airing no vaccine, and a good third, 40% were for the vaccine, of 1,000 people on the call. And so a woman stepped forward from America, and she talked about really lucid and pleasant and clear about the vaccine and why it was important and how she believed in it from her scientific background. And then the person speaking against the vaccine actually wasn't very articulate and didn't look at the camera. And she had some people in her family had, so she wasn't the best example, because what the teaching was, we as the audience had to hold loving intention for this person, whether we agreed or not. That was the goal. It wasn't like a who do we believe. So then she asked for a volunteer. Well, I got picked, and I thought, this is my opportunity to speak to 1,000 people about how I feel about something, which is I don't speak to people about other than people I know who believe what I believe. And what was interesting was I just talked about my lack of trust. What's the point in quoting all the data? I mean, I could have quoted some. I quoted a little. And on the chat, people were going, well, she's talking rubbish. The whole point was not to disagree with me. It was to send me loving intention. And I said I didn't wear a mask. Oh, the hate mail I got in there.
Wow.
But then they realised that afterwards, when I looked at it, I thought, well, I can't take this on. It's been an interesting experiment. I was willing to put myself forward. If there's an invitation to step forward, you have to take it, like inspired by what you're doing. I thought, if I have an opportunity to speak, I have to speak from the heart and speak lovingly and respect what this other woman has said and speak where I'm coming from. And I think the lesson for people was to realize you've got to, as you say, you've got to be there with loving kindness for whatever somebody holds in order to bond with them. But it was a very interesting process to go through.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for that, Gina. The last time we met was actually at the Year of the Rat event, wasn't it, in Chinatown, which was right at the start of this, back on the 20th of January, 2020.
2 years ago. Or last year.
It was a year ago, yeah, and it was just literally the news was just coming in, and we were in Chinatown because it just started breaking out in Wuhan, hadn't it?
My last visit to London.
Yeah, and so you were in the audience, and I remember talking about this wanting to create a communication network because of the fear of what was coming, and I knew in my heart of hearts when the Tories won the election, I knew something terrible was going to unfold. I didn't quite know what, but there was that real sense. So it's interesting that this is sort of born in a different form out of what was talked about that night.
Well, it's interesting, Rachel, and for years I've been, as suppose many people here, in this space of new consciousness, what's going to happen in the future. And it's always been in the future. I never thought that I would be living through the change. I thought it would be in the future. And I feel now I'm living in a science fiction movie, and I've really got to get with the program because this is what I've been talking about. One day, today's that one day, as you know, all the things we've been talking about, one day this will happen. Well, here we are.
It's here right now. Totally agree. Okay, thank you, Gina. Thanks for coming on. Wonderful. I can tell that you know all about feng shui. I'm sure you're sitting in the southeastern sector of your house there with all those plants and greenery. I'm going to come to John, who's been patiently sitting there with his hand up. I don't know if that was accidental, John, but anyway, I'm asking you to unmute and come on the call.
Oh, good morning, Rachel. Yeah, absolute goddess, and just like to say hello to all the rest of the goddesses and gods here, and let's shine our lights. I think that's really the focus of what I want to say. I think basically everybody here is obviously talking this morning very, very close to what's happening for me. I have my son who is at the polar end, and it's pure conflict, whereby, I'm with friends as well. We found myself more and more isolated in a way, shall we say, or the closeness seems to be a friction point. And I think that's the same for everybody. And I think that's down to really we've got to put our hand up and say, what a magnificent job they're doing brainwashing the whole of the nation and the world, of course, within this. And I think realistically within it all, I think we have to just say, well, listen, I think we've lost really our mainstay in cognitively engaging with everybody and trying to influence where they are. Because even though, faced with evidence or at least stuff to get people to question what's going on and what they see before them and the evidence. It's just cognitive dissonance that, they just put in a place of fear. And, and I think what as I say, go back to the light side of this, I think we need to start battling this on two fronts, really, because I think realistically, on the cognitive side of it, we're always going to be behind in this battle. And just want to point out to everybody, Dr. Bruce H. Lipton, and he does an absolutely wonderful is on YouTube about science connecting spirituality and the collective nature and power of people through the lights that we should shine out. So also, just before we move on, I just want to say how wonderful it is. I've not really been throughout my life a great believer in the female power, as it were, and energy. Obviously, if you look, we've got Margaret Thatcher and Jimmy Cranky up north there at the border at the minute. And I could go on, of course, and all these negative females. But I've been so influenced over the past, say, 20 years through my little journey in spirituality. I meet so many positive female, the synchronicity now with likes of yourself, Rachel, and other females leading the way. And I think it is time for women to lead the way. But back to Dr. Lipton and his philosophy or his findings, shall we say. I would just like to say, I don't have the wherewithal for this, but I think it would be certainly something for somebody to get a website or a point whereby every one of us could go to focus our energy in our meditation, or a safe place to gain energy from. Just one place to shine a light, because that's really what's needed, isn't it? To lift the veil from the darkness that we have, to shine a light. And the more we have people going to one place of focus, could really, really be our second front, rather than just focusing on us rattling around in our little can. A great support group and really good information. But, anyway, that's really what I wanted to say.
Okay, John, thanks for coming on. There is a place we can all go to where we can instantly connect with everyone else on the planet, and that is our altar. This is metaphysically. This is learned this working with the shamans in Peru. They carry a mesa, which is a bundle. So you basically open it, and then that's your altar wherever you are. So whenever you're sitting at an altar, sitting in prayer at your altar, whether it's a static altar or a mesa bundle, you are energetically connected to every other person sitting at an altar wherever they are on the planet. And so bearing that in mind, you can intentionally connect with that grid at an energetic level. So it's a very fascinating one. We don't have to struggle alone. We can call in that higher power. I'm trying to look for Jenny, who's saying she wants to come on. So it's a bit of finding a needle in a haystack, actually. Yeah, there we go. Jenny, can you speak?
Hi.
Hello.
Jenny with no face, I'm afraid.
Hi, Jenny. Hello.
My video doesn't work. I just really resonate with everything everyone has said. I don't want to chat on any longer, sort of about everything. I just want more contact with people. I have no idea how to make Telegram work, etc. I'm living in Shropshire. I'm involved with community here, although not living with community yet. But we are very, very much working on this way of thinking and wanting to co-create community. So I'd love to have contact with more people. And I'm very happy to give my email address if people want to make contact with me. And I love what you're talking about doing in your grave. I lived at Findhorn for 4 years.
Jenny, you've got a lot of background noise there. Is there someone mowing the lawn?
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me over that? I don't know why the noise is happening. I think it's my video, my laptop.
Okay, yeah, so tell us about Findhorn.
Just that I lived there for a long time ago, and I really resonate with the way that you were speaking about log cabins and a hub rather than old energy. Although I think that old energy can be transmuted as well, but I loved what you had to say. I'd love to be in touch with Ray as well, but I don't know how to connect with anyone other than just coming on here and saying hi, and finally I got to say hi. That's it for now.
Thank you. I'm going to mute you back because that is a bit of a background noise. So just to say, someone else asked me about this, about creating a local support group and also how to use Telegram, because it did take me quite a while to get the knack of it. What I'm planning to do, and I will do one day this week, very soon, I'll give a very short video tutorial on everything that I've learned to make it simple for you to set up a local community support group, to set it up on Telegram in a way that is very efficient as opposed to inefficient, which is, I had a bit of a false start. I also went to the police station yesterday with my letter to get clearance, because I want it to be official and I want something in writing so that if anyone questions us when we meet, a formal support group can meet, up to 15 people can meet under the legislation. As long as it's not in a private place. So you have to meet in a public place. So we want to go rambling in Yulgrave. As soon as I get that clearance through, I'm hoping I'll get the clearance through, I will share that with everyone, so that you can do the same. Because ultimately we do need to, my personal view is, and well, there's so many people who are speaking about this now, it's so important for us to have local community support groups that are not online, that are not just over the internet, because if we lose that internet connection and it's taken away and taken down, it's so important that we have a good, strong local community support group of like-minded people. And anyone who doesn't agree with it, just forget them. Just attract your cell. It's like freedom cells. Attract your small group, doesn't have to be big, small group, so you get solidarity with people who are on the same page locally, so that you've got local support. Because that feeling of security, that's another thing that helps to calm the nervous system, when you know there are local people that have got your back, that if anything happened, you could call on them and you could gather, and there's strength in that. So it's tremendously earthing and healing to have a local group, as well as these online ones, which are great too. So I just wanted to mention that. Okay, who else would like to come on? Wendy, oh, are you the lady from California?
Oh, thank you, Rachel.
What time is it there now?
It's 10 minutes to 5 a.m. And that was my daughter last week who talked. She's sleeping in. But anyways, I just wanted to share how much this is so supportive, even though I'm like on the other side of the world, it feels like. Just seeing everybody, and I love everybody's accent. Just your voices are so magical, and I'm aware of, I don't want to take up too much time, but I can just go on and on. I mean, I sensed from day one of this that something was going on. And this has been so validating for me, because I'm realizing the strength in my sensitivity, that I've always been a really sensitive person, and have been on the journey of awakening. But this has been the lockdown, this whole thing is almost, there's a whole side to it that's a blessing, because I'm really getting to do major inner work. So it's just a trippiest time ever to be awake and alive, and hearing everybody and seeing everybody's beautiful faces. Thank you so much, Rachel, for everything.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Did you watch the video for last week when you came on?
Oh no, it didn't come up on my YouTube channel.
Oh, well, if you watch the end of it, I played California Dreaming as the outro music, which it was in honor of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks for coming on again, and I admire your tenacity, being up at so early to come on and join us.
It's worth it.
Yeah, lots of love. Okay. Okay, who else? Lydia, would you like to come on? I'm coming to people who've got their hand up now, as I'm figuring that you've got something pressing to share.
Your video on misogyny really struck me, Rachel. I've gone through anger to rage, well, enragement to rage, and just feeling really sad. But, you know, this year I've had so much misogyny thrown at me. I've been told by male friends that I need to go and take care of myself. I've had my brother in complete denial shouting at me. I've had men mansplaining at me, and when I said I was being mansplained, having men tell me that I'd fallen prey to a Marxist paradigm where I believed that the female was suppressed. And so it really struck. But it also tied into something else that came up a couple of weeks ago about when you talked about the patriarchy and the undoing of patriarchy, and how we're having to look at the dark side and the dark side of patriarchy. And a couple of weeks ago, somebody came on and was playing Namah Shivaya, which is great, but he talked about the Shivananda organization. And at the same time that this is going on, I'm also going through a process with that organization, which is revealing historic sexual abuse in that organization, as there are in many organizations of that type, by the way. And again, it's women appealing to, you know, a patriarchal system to be heard for what's happened to them or what they've been through.
Yes.
And being blocked. And I think it's really interesting when you look at, if you look at the people who are running this agenda, they are old white men, unfortunately.
Yep.
In the majority. And I heard what your speaker before said about, women. I mean, I'm not saying that all women are, but I think what's happened is it's a corrupted female. I mean, certainly by all the times I've been bullied in my life has been by women, but I think what's happened is that women have had to take on a corruption of the female in order to survive in a man's world. And equally now we're also seeing perhaps men who've had a corruption. Sasha Stone talks quite a lot about this, the corruption of the male to undo what they see as past wrongs against women. And we need, this is about a great rebalancing of that and undoing of patriarchy. And it's something that they're not going to, it's like a lizard dying, crashing around before its last death.
Yes.
But it really struck me that your video, thank you. And it's very painful when you get talked down to by men, because somehow it sort of struck that, like this is what used to happen to witches.
Yes.
In past times, we would be ducked and drowned for speaking out.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for coming on, Lydia. And thank you for raising that, because it's been an interesting one, because that Om Namah Shivaya chant that I played a couple of weeks ago helped to flush out that Wetiko. And I realized through really tuning into what was going on, and obviously I was actually quite triggered by this whole situation and enraged, outraged, but knowing how this illusion works, just coming back, okay, what am I being shown? What am I being shown here? Which is like, where's the gift in this? I always try to find the gift in it, because obviously finding the gift, then you can transmute it. And then you get to that place, I am empowered by everything. So it was a very fascinating one. And I really feel that it's like we've hit the bullseye, that this misogynistic, patriarchal program is so strong. And you're right, that women have had to compromise their goddess divine power to fit with that patriarchal, misogynistic. We've had to mold ourselves. And so if you think of and it's funny, I'm going to talk maybe to the end here about this, because I'm really pleased you raised it, because this mother, maiden, crone, the three faces of Hecate, the mother, the maiden, and the crone, they've all been compromised by the patriarchy. The maiden has become a sex goddess, porn starry, rap starry, Beyonce, shake your tits thing. The mothers have been drawn into being the superwoman, career woman mothers. So drop your kids off at the nursery and go into your high powered job with your shoulder pads. So they've compromised the mother and undermined the absolute value of being a mother. And I feel a lot of shame around that, because I wished I'd absolutely devoted myself to being a mother in the fullest sense of that, because I feel that mothers, we've created a lot of traumatized young boys inadvertently through following this program. And the third one, the crone. So instead of being glorious, wise women, and in the shamanic tradition, who held the medicine women, who held the grandmothers, like the witches, who held the medicine knowledge and the teachings of the healings, have become the little old ladies in the care homes who are just being jabbed against their will and consent and just shuffled off as being kind of dementia. And so the three faces of the feminine have all been compromised by this patriarchal system. And we need to reclaim, as the feminine, it's really important for us to reclaim the power of each of those three stages of the feminine. I've been tuning into this. I was going to do actually a video. I was going to call it Me Too, #Me Too, but me TWO, as in the second wave, because the first Me Too movement, sorry, I'm on a roll here, you've triggered me.
Yes.
The first Me Too movement was all about sexual abuse. It was just calling out sexual abuse. And prior to that, you remember we had 50 Shades of Grey, which was the glorification of S&M and how that rich, powerful man could have the contract to abuse and to be the dominator of the submissive, of the girl who was drawn into the lure of his money and his empire. So we had the whole 50 Shades of Grey and the Me Too, which unraveled the whole sexual abuse. But of course, there's emotional abuse, financial abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse, and they all haven't been addressed yet. So there have been some, like Epstein and Harvey Weinstein and Jimmy Savile and Rolf Harris, and all of those versions of the male have been called out, but not the power. This hasn't been called out yet. So there's a ripening of this calling out of this patriarchal, narcissistic, gaslighting, power over, angry, controlling masculine, which has suppressed the feminine for eons, generations, certainly. So thank you so much, Lydia. And I'm going to end on that note, actually, because I really feel that I thank you for raising that, because it's one I've been really sitting with. And I feel like I've been born to look at this deeply, because I have 4 brothers, 5 sons, 2 ex-husbands, and I have a knack of attracting misogynistic men. And I get like I'm sharpening my sword on that, so it's interesting to draw these men who are running this program to help me to find a way to unplug that and alchemize it, and at least at very minimum shine a light on it. Because I think that men are so entrenched in the program, it's very difficult for them to uninstall it. And spiritual men as well. You're absolutely right. When spiritual men become the guru, they get a messiah complex, or the shaman who starts to misuse the power, the metaphysical power. This deep corruption that men are drawn to, it's a very deep program to be uninstalled. And I believe if we could uninstall that and pull it out by its roots and transmute it, alchemize it, boom, it would be over in an instant. Truly believe that. Okay, so sending you lots of love. Thank you. Sorry to hog that last 5 minutes, but that felt quite important. And so just let's just have a little wave from everyone just to say goodbye, and thanking you all so much for showing up and sharing and helping to keep me going and motivated in these still tricky times. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.
Rachel. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Namyo Renge Kyo, 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 Namyo Renge kyo 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 namyo Namyo Renge Kyo, 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 Namyo